Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Welcome here to the WEBA workshop. Today is the 30th of January 2025, and I hope everyone had a good start in the new year. I would like everyone to remain as usual on the mute modality so that we can proceed with the presentation. I can see that more agents are joining us at the moment, so thank you very much everyone to be here today. We will have a great event. We will have here Stevie and Amar from Twin College who will give a presentation about the foundation program starting this year in April. But we will inform you as well about application into UK university with other university, which will be the University of Sunderland, Regent College London, Bangor University, and more. So below there is a chat system on Zoom. If you have any questions after the presentation, feel free to put your question down so we can reply to you. Very important is remain on the mute modality so that we can proceed with the presentation. So I can see that Stevie is here from Twin College. Hello, Stevie. How are you today?
Hi, good. Hi, Richard. Good morning, everybody. Nice afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Nice to be part of such a big and prestigious webinar. All of you wonderful agents and counselors around the world. So very excited to be here. I have Amar with me as well from Twin.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Stevie. I can see that more and more agents are joining us. I know always it takes this 5-10 minutes before that we can move on. I can see Amar is here as well. Hello, Amar. How are you today? You have to
Good.
unmute
I
yourself.
have indeed. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, everyone. And pretty much just like you've always said, it's a pleasure to be a part of this event this morning.
Fantastic, fantastic. How is the weather in London at the moment?
It's
Cold.
it is quite yeah, it is very cold this morning. Yes,
Okay, so we are still in the winter mood now in London. This is
but
very,
there's no
very
rain. It's quite dry. It's cold, but as long as there's no rain or snow, I think we're okay.
yeah, yeah. Over here in Switzerland, the weather is fantastic. We have still a lot of snow, so we are
Oh wow.
still on the winter mood here, and people still go to skiing. But now let's go back to the business. I can see that more and more agents join us. Welcome to everyone. We just starting now in the next second with Twin College. We have here with us today Amar and Stevie from Twin College who will give a presentation. And for all the new agents who just joined us on Zoom today, please below you will find the chat system. If you have any questions after the presentation, just go on chat below and put your question down. So thank you very much. I think we can start. We will start, I presume, with Stevie.
Yes.
Stevie, the floor is all yours. If you want to, I don't know if you want to make a presentation, want to introduce yourself. It's up to you. How you prefer, Stevie.
Yes, thank you so much, Richard. I know that Sarah's on the call as well, and I'll just introduce everybody to Sarah Kane. She's head of admissions at Twin International College, so she will also be talking a little bit to you all this morning about the admissions process for our International Foundation year, because I think that is very important for your agents, your counselors, and your partner network. To understand how we do that at Twin. So probably I'll hand over to Sarah in a few minutes. She'll go first actually, and then we might, Sarah, if that's okay with you, so that everyone can understand that. And then please, yeah, as Richard said in the chat box, do put your questions, and we'll try to get to those. And Amar is, your key account manager for many of the partnerships that we have, the agents and counselors. So he is key to all of this. He will be the person that talks to you daily. I think, Amar, is that right? Would you say daily contact?
100%. I'm not sure if I'm still on mute, but if you can hear me, yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
am available pretty much at any point on any day. So contact details will be shared, obviously. So I am available to answer any queries or questions. I do get in touch with obviously with the WEBA team on a regular basis. So I think I'm in touch with Simran on a pretty much on a daily basis. So and that goes for anyone in the network too.
Great.
Yeah. I
Thanks.
want to say
Thanks.
hello to my team as well, including Simran. She's here today as well. Hello,
Good.
Simran. And I want to welcome as well the new agents coming as well from Japan, as well from Korea, from India, from Africa, from Europe as well, I can see. So from the Middle East, welcome everyone from Pakistan. I don't want to forget no one. So Bangladesh, logically, always very nice to have here Mr. Ahmed. So welcome to everyone again. Here is the WEBA workshop. My name is Richard Affolter. I'm the director of WEBA. We start with Twin College with Stevie and Amar and Sarah, who will give a presentation. Stevie.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, Sarah, what we'll do is, because there's a lot of new agents here, perhaps I'll just give a brief overview of the program and then hand over to you. Is that okay?
Yeah,
for
that's fine with me. Yep.
Okay. So Amar, if you have the presentation, would you mind?
I do, and
Yeah.
hopefully you should be able to see it on your
I
screen.
can see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
all good. Yeah, I can
Perfect.
see it. So I know that I've met several of you already. I think we've had a couple of sessions already at Twin International College in Greenwich. So some of you might have seen this already. So I will go through it quite quickly, but I'll re-emphasize and I'll highlight the particular points that we are working with NCUK. So NCUK has been around for longer than Twin. Twin is 30 years this year. NCUK is more than 30 years. They are an awarding body for a very high quality international foundation year program. Some of you call it the Pathway. Some of you call it the Bridge program between high school and university. It's like a year 13 program, basically. Most of the countries around the world, about 80% of them, do need this pathway to a British university. And we believe that the NCUK one probably is the highest quality because they're not actually a delivery centre themselves. They are an awarding body. They are recognised by the UK government and they're recognised by, they have over 50 university partners now, which is quite extraordinary. 20 of them are UK based and over half of the UK based ones are Russell Group. So we'll go on to the next slide. Mar, thank you. So you can see here the brands that we're working with basically through NCUK. And at the moment, yeah, we just started our first course in January, so we're quite new with them. The next course is September, and it will be business and humanities focused, which opens up just so many degrees at a British university. It's not just a business degree, but it's also law, journalism, international relations, politics, any kind of humanities-based degrees or business-based degrees. You can do the Twin Foundation program with NCUK as the awarding body. Yeah, it's a great opportunity for students. It's designed specifically for international students, so it is easier to do than other qualifications such as A levels or IB. And you can see from the brands, you are the experts, so you know a lot of these universities already. But half of the UK partners are Russell Group, so we have Manchester in there, Sheffield, Leeds, Queen Mary, Durham, Exeter, Birmingham, Bristol, amazing brands, top 20 universities in the UK. Ordinarily very difficult to have direct entry, but through NCUK, it really opens up the opportunity to international students to make it a very real and viable option for them to get through to their chosen degree program. We'll have the next slide, Amar, thank you. So these are the stats that we're very proud of, and this is why we work with NCUK. 99% success rate with the visas, which is very important, obviously, because that's the starting point. The nationalities, yeah, it's nice to have a mix, but it's not the most important thing. I think for me, the most important statistic here is the 90%. So 90% of students get into their first choice university when they take the NCUK program. Now, if you take away the NCUK program, and if you look at direct entry, excuse me, that 90% falls to about 20%. So when international students apply directly to university, only about 20% of them get their first choice university because the demand is so high. It might be like 20 applicants for one place. But because NCUK has such a good relationship with their university partners, and the university partners value the NCUK program so highly, the statistic for the last 3 or 4 years, so over 10,000 students, and it's 90% of the students get into their first choice university, which we're very happy with indeed. And then the last statistic, which was 80%, just shows that the students are better prepared for their main degree program than those that do not take a foundation program. So A-levels, this slide, yes, I'm sure a lot of you know about A-levels in the UK. It's a 2-year qualification. Sometimes it's an 18-month qualification. NCUK is exactly the same level as an A-level. We call it level 3 in the UK. But the main difference is that the NCUK qualification is shorter. So you do it within 1 academic year. That makes it less expensive, or better value is maybe a better way of saying that for the students. But also, and again, for me, this is the most important because my children are taking A-levels at the moment and I see how difficult they are. The NCUK program is designed specifically for international students. And A-levels are a British qualification for native speakers. So, of course, international students do take A-levels and some of them do very well. But the majority, just come through into a British classroom, which is quite a challenge for them with English not as their native language. And very often just end up on the periphery, and not really involved so much in the class. With the foundation program, there's no escape. The way we teach it is very interactive, very engaging, and every student will get the best out of the program. But the key point from this slide is that they are the same qualification, absolutely, level 3. Next slide, please. So this is what, again, highlights what I've just spoken about. The International Foundation Year has been verified by the UK government as being the same as A-levels, a level 3 program. So universities look at the NCUK qualification as a very good pathway through to their main degree program. Next slide, please. So what will the student get at Twin? Well, they'll get something very similar to what they would have got if they went directly to the university. But because we're a bit smaller, we're more boutique, we like to look after our students, we think, in a much better way. So we will help them with their application, and they apply through UCAS, so they can still apply for 5 universities. We will help them with their personal statement. We don't outsource this to experts. Actually, their tutors will help them with their personal statement. And these are the people that know them best because they are teaching them day in, day out. So the people that will help the students with their personal statement actually are the people who know the students best, which I think is very important. University accommodation and visa advice. This happens in 2 stages. So when the students apply to their university, when they get an offer at the university, that's when the university takes over and offers them accommodation options and visa advice. But for the Twin part of the program, we don't have halls of residence or large ones like universities do, but Amar will be your key contact here, and he can advise on all things accommodation related. And then when Sarah comes in, she is our visa expert, so she will help the students and the agents with the visa application process. Next slide, please. So what do we teach? That's probably the question that the student and the parents will ask in particular. So the program there's 4 modules on the program. 20 hours a week. The most important module really is English for academic purposes, EAP. And if the student says, you know, I speak English already, visa, because you have to be a certain level, which is B2, but the English for academic purposes takes English beyond spoken English, communications, listening, reading, and writing, and it gets you to the university level that you need in order to successfully complete the program. One of the great things about this module, EAP, is that once you complete it, you don't need to do another English language test before you enter the university. All the universities accept this EAP module as their English language requirement. So whereas with Twin, right at the start, do you need a CELT, a secure English language test? Yes, you do, because it's below degree level. But when you are on our program, when you make the university application within 3, 6, 9 months, when you get your qualification, you don't need to take another English language test, and that's very important. Nobody likes taking tests. Nobody likes paying money to take tests. So your students will only have to do this once at the very beginning of the journey, and then after that, the university will accept the level of English. The other 3 modules are just related to business and humanities, and they're just part of the program. Good fun modules with introductions to subjects. So we teach very differently to universities because we don't have 60 students in a class, 50, 40, 30. We actually have class sizes of 15 to 20, much smaller. We teach in a kind of U-shape environment where the teacher moves around the room, engages the student. We like to get them involved as much as possible in kind of UK life and culture. So what we call enrichment, some people call extracurricular. And this is just about getting out of the classroom, really going to see the universities, going to visit companies, maybe if they're interested in business, just getting their confidence levels up. So if they do get an interview at a university, they can say, oh yeah, I visited your university already. I've been doing this and that whilst I've been in the UK, which gets them a really good position, much better than overseas applicants who might say, yes, I'm really interested in your university, but I've never been to the UK before. That's not great. It's realistic because, of course, we understand that this is the first time that people travel. But if they are able to do their foundation program in the UK already, they have an advantage over other overseas candidates. Thanks, Amar. Next slide.
Stevie.
Yes, Richard.
Sorry
Yes.
that I'm interrupting your insight. I think you made a fantastic introduction. I want to welcome all the 51 agents who are with us here today at the moment. So this is a great news. We can see the founder here in the picture as well of Twin College, which I know since I think over 30 years now. What is very important, Stevie, we have here agents as well from Russia. I will record everything and I will send these to some agents back in Latin America. We have to explain, and as well to China, we have to explain why they need to do the foundation. I mean, many, like in Russia, for example, they have 11 years, so it's very important for them to do the 1 year to reach the entry level, because some agents maybe do not understand the reason why they should do the foundation. Maybe if you can maybe explain these parts,
Yeah,
it will helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. That's a great question. Thank you. And it's true that in the UK we have 13 years of education. So the pathway really is the year 13. Most countries around the world, I said about 80% of them, don't have 13 years of education. And you all know who you are because you've been through your own education itself. Most countries have 11 or 12 years of education, which isn't enough to enter a British university. And that's really why the foundation program was invented, if you like, about 20 years ago. It was invented for international students to enter a British university, a UK university, which is like the top up between high school and university. So if you finish high school qualification in your country and it's only 11 or 12 years, direct entry is not an option to a UK university. They won't accept you, and they will say you have to do one further year. So that's either going to be an A-level qualification, IB qualification, or foundation program in their own country or in the UK. So that's what this program is. This is the bridge. This is year 13, and it really it's the students from about 80% of the overseas countries, foreign countries, are eligible for this program. So thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, that's very important to note.
Yep, you're welcome, Stevie.
Thanks. So so this is about eligibility. So completion of local high school. We realize that some local high schools are 11 years, some are 12. It's actually quite easy to enter the NCUK program. There's just two things that you need, really. One is your high school certificate, the completion, and the second is English language, the CELT, for visa purposes. We don't require, geniuses to enter the program. We don't need people with 90% distinction from their local high schools. Really, just a pass is enough. So around 50% in most countries. Because the great thing about NCUK is not only do they work with Russell Group universities, but also they work with other universities in the UK who are middle table ranked. So Sheffield Hallam, Huddersfield, Bradford, Manchester Metropolitan, really good universities, but just not the top 10, not the top 20. So even if you have a student who says, well, I'm not brilliant actually, but I really want to go to a UK university, is it possible? The answer is yes, it is possible. Because in the UK, we have 135 universities. Only 20 of those are Russell Group, 25 of them. So they're the ones that you need to have the AAB, the 90% plus distinction to get into. But all the other universities, very, very good universities, you can enter with lower grades. So that's why NCUK have got quite an easy, if you like, level to get in from high school. So just those two things will make you eligible. So high school certificate and English language. So we had a course that started this January. Our next course starts in September. These are the tuition fees, the modules, as I said, I've mentioned already. Minimum age, we do require 17. The reason why we say that is because British universities are 18 plus, which means that if you start with us when you're 17, you will be 18 when you go to a university. If you start with Twin when you're 16, that means you're 17 when you're ready to go to a British university, and not many will accept 17-year-olds. Some do, actually, but not the top universities, and not many, because it's like a safeguarding issue. So that's why we say the minimum age is 17. So thank you for listening. That's the end of this presentation part. Definitely there'll be time for questions in the Q&A afterwards. Richard, do you have any questions, or can I hand over to Sarah?
Yes. So, one of the main questions that came out all the time from the agents is the English language. You point out 5.0 on IELTS. What else? What other examination they can take?
So CELT, I might ask Sarah to answer this actually, because she's our head of admissions, so she knows. I think she knows more about the English language test than I do. But there's 4 of them, aren't there, Sarah, that are possible for visa purposes?
Yeah, so on on the government website, and I'll put a link to it so you can see it has a list of the secured English language tests. But majority of students will take IELTS, but there's PTE for UKVI, there's language cert, and there's a skills for English one as well. So I'll put the link there with the 4 tests. But the majority that we get are either the Pearson UKVI test or the IELTS test. They tend to be the ones they want. And it is quite confusing. It's one of the questions I answer most for agents, because students will take an academic IELTS and I will go back to them and say, I'm sorry, we can't accept this test. Students need to do a CELT. And the reason for that is that If your exit award is a degree, then the university has discretion and the university can assess English. If your exit award, as in this case, is the level 3, then we have to use the UKVI test. So that's not our rules. That is the UKVI's rules. So we can't change that. So unfortunately, sometimes I see students who have perfect English, they're brilliant, but we still have to ask them to do a CELT as well. But if anyone has any problems, my email address is and my people can email, although you email Amar or text Amar, you can email us directly.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much for explaining. Maybe if you can put the link on the chat system below, it will be great.
Yeah, once I've done my little bit, I'll go off camera and find that link for you and share it so that people can see it, because I think that helps.
Very much. So the next intake is in September 2025, correct? And so what I want to ask as well, Stevie or Amar or Sarah, maybe tell us a little bit about the interview. So you will do an interview to the students. Maybe if you have some credibility questionnaire ready,
Yeah.
if you can share this as well on the chat system, it will be very helpful.
So I definitely won't be sharing that. And the reason being is because the purpose of our pre-CAS interview is to do a mock interview that UKVI will do. So UKVI, when you apply from certain markets, they will want to do an interview with your students. And what they want to do is they want to see if, and they call it a genuine student. So they want to see if your student is coming to study in the UK, if that's their primary goal. So they don't want people coming to the UK who want to live in the UK. They want people coming who want to study in the UK and then go back home. In reality, we know that some people want to study in the UK. They will then get the opportunity to work and get a really good job in the UK, and you are allowed to do that. But UKVI want the first intention of the student to be to come and study and return home. So we need to, the purpose of the pre-CAS interview is just to give a mock interview. It gives the student a chance of having an interview and a practice, because it can be a very scary thing to do. Normally, it's me that will conduct those interviews. Sometimes it will be my colleague Yasmin. And it gives them a chance to practice doing that interview, and it also gives us a chance to feedback any issues. What I can tell you the areas we're looking at. So we're looking at to see, why is the student coming to the UK? So why have they chosen the UK? Why did they not decide to study in their home country? Why did they not want to study in America? Why? And we want them to have a reason why they've picked the UK. The second area is we want to know why they've chosen to study on this foundation. What is it that they like about this foundation? And we want to know, what do they plan to do when they finish? So which university, they don't have to have made their university decision, but we want them to have an idea. So a student coming saying, well, I'll come to Twin, I don't know what I'm going to do, I may study at a degree, UKVI won't like that answer. So they want them to have thought what their future is at degree level. It's perfectly acceptable for a student to say, I want to study business. I've got a short list of universities. When I do my foundation, I will visit those universities and see which one I prefer. That's an okay answer, but they're wanting to see what they want to do. And then they want to see future plans. So they want to understand what the student is going to do when they finish their degree. The final thing they want to look at is if there's a gap in study. So I know in some markets, the applicants we're receiving have got a gap of 2, 3, 4 years after they've finished high school before they go to university. So what UKVI want to know is, well, why do you want to come to university now? Why have you got a gap? So we'll talk through all of those things, and they're the things that we need students to be prepared on. Where students go wrong is AI. AI is such a bad thing for us, because what happens is students will Google, why should I study in the UK? And they will get a whole list of answers, and they will tell me these answers. Now, I have done this job for a long time. I know when someone is telling me an AI answer. So if someone is repeating something that they've practiced, that they've learned like that, we have to fail their interview because UKVI will fail them. So some tips for agents that I think is really important, and this is whether you're doing an interview with me or an interview for any of your students going to any university. When the student is asked a question, why did you choose the UK? That answer should be, I decided to come to the UK because you would answer that question in the first person. You wouldn't say, UK universities have the best system in the world. They have the most brilliant technology. Education is this. That is not how you would answer a question. So when someone answers a question, when I say, why do you want to study in the UK? And they start telling me in the third person and they're not making it about themselves, that will fail. They will fail that interview. So it's really having, and it's also having a genuine reason. So if a student says to me, okay, ranking, I chose to go at this university because of ranking, I will ask a follow-up question, well, what is the ranking? Which other universities did you apply for and what is their ranking? So sometimes students will come up with answers, but they haven't thought it. So a really good example of this is the TEF. So some universities have got gold standard in the TEF. So I'll say to a student, why do you want to do your degree after the programme at this university? And they say, oh, it's got TEF gold. And I say, well, what does that mean? And they say, well, it's got gold in TEF. And I'm like, yes, but what does that mean? So any student should be able to explain their reasoning. Does that make sense?
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much. I have a question to you, Sarah. Is the interview compulsory? So everyone has to
Yes.
interview?
It's compulsory for all of those. We don't have high risk markets anymore, but what UKVI have is a list of countries that don't need to show their finance, and those students, the countries that don't need to show their finances don't need to have the interview, but for a majority of applicants applying they will. So for example, in the chat I can see you've got someone from Japan. Good news, your students will not have to have a precast interview. But I can also see you've got an agent from Nepal. Unfortunately, all of your students will have to have an interview. So anyone from sub-Saharan Africa, from South Asia, um, some country, Jordan, some countries within the Middle East, not so much Europe, but different countries. It depends on your country, but that will be on your conditional offer.
For African student, as you mentioned, African student, let's presume Nigeria, which is an
Yeah.
English language country. Do they need to provide an English test or not?
Yes, unless UKVI says that you are from a country where your mother tongue is English, you have to provide an English test. So if you're on a list of majority English language speaking countries, then you don't have to have an English test. But if you're from a country which isn't on the list of English language speakers, you have to provide an English test. However, if you're from Nigeria and your English is great, it's you'll get a very good score in that English test. So it's nothing to worry about, but you will have to take one to get your visa.
Okay.
And that's the visa rules, not ours.
How the system is working with the deposit? How much deposit do they have to pay?
So again, this depends on whether we need to see financials. So for some markets, we ask for £5,000. For markets where we don't have to see your financial documents, we ask for £1,000. And for some markets, we ask for full fees up front because we know that this will help you to get a visa. So we know for some markets, so sometimes for applicants from Pakistan and from Bangladesh, we will ask for all the fees up front. And normally the agent will ask us to do this as well, because we know UKVI will say an applicant is very serious if they've paid all of their money. So it can depend, but standard is 5,000.
Okay, this is a very do they need to make an additional deposit for the university they want to apply after or not?
So most universities in the UK, you don't have to make a deposit when you apply to the university. So you would apply through UCAS, you will select your 5 options. And when you decide which university you're going to go to, once you've accepted their place, you may need to pay a deposit at that point, but not before.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now here with Twin College, which is offering a foundation program. Just that you understand, this part is a foundation program, so they need to do 1 year foundation program starting September 2025. And after they finish the foundation, or right when they start to finish the foundation, they will be able to choose some of the university from the Russell Group, for example, which are the top university in the UK, to give you a full orientation. So the deposit, as mentioned, Sarah, is for Twin College. Okay, Sarah, I have one more question for you. I visit Twin College. I know the location. I know the campus. Very nice, beautiful, modern inside, very charming, interesting, not too big, like Amar said before and Stevie. What about the accommodation? Is there any assistance for the student for the accommodation?
I'm going to defer this question to Amar because I think Amar is
Yes.
best placed.
Not a
Okay,
problem at all.
thank you,
So,
Sarah.
obviously, Richard, you've been to our premises here in Greenwich. So, for those of you who don't know, we're based in London. We're based in Greenwich, and if you know anything about London, it's broken into different zones. So, we are classed as Zone 2. So, in terms of accommodation options, we can offer either a very economic friendly host family accommodation, which is within the Southeast London area, which is where we're based. So host families will be our own host families who have been working with Twin for approximately over 20 to near enough 30 years, who can provide you with like a full board or even a half board. So they can provide you with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, depending on obviously what the budget for the students are. Alternatively, is if they have a little bit more money to play around with and they much prefer a kind of a student kind of accommodation, we can provide them with options for single ensuite rooms. So they'll stay in a student university or a student accommodation where they'll get their own room. They'll obviously have access to Wi-Fi and staying with other students from various different universities or various different colleges. With an ensuite room, which will be self-catering, which means obviously the students will then need to budget for their own foods. So we have options available.
Yeah. Then before to ask you one more questions to you, Amar, and you know, I prefer to ask you this question before because I saw many questions coming inside.
Sure.
We already had a discussion about the English course. Let's put it like this one. The entry requirement is 5.0 on IELTS, okay, or similar. But for the one who do not reach this level, Twin College is offering as well an English program, a 6 weeks program, so that they can enter with a lower IELTS. Is this possible, for example, for Nepalese, as Sarah mentioned, Nepalese or Bangladesh or India or Pakistan, or not?
Yeah, so we are offering what we call, you mentioned obviously earlier, a 6-week English course. So we're calling it a pre-sessional English course, meaning if you have students who are just below the 5.5 or 5.0 requirements, we can offer pre-sessional English, which will help speed up the process in terms of helping that student get to the essential requirement that they need to start the foundation program. And that can be from up to, I believe it's an 8-week program. Is that correct, Steve?
Yes, it is. Yes,
Yes.
we'll we'll make sure that we get the dates sent over to your network, Richard. Amar can send those later.
Absolutely.
So everyone's aware.
Yeah. And I can see that Sarah already replied some of the questions who came inside. This is very, very important, Sarah, if you can help me and reply to these questions so that they will be receive the correct answer immediately from your side as well. So let's presume
Can I just in response to one of the questions, and sorry, I'm going to really pronounce this name incorrectly, so I do apologize. It's from Nekiruka Adesanya. Gonan, and they say that we process
Yes,
visa.
that's my name. That's my name.
Okay, and which country are your students from?
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
I'm
Okay.
from Nigeria because I do a lot of student visa myself.
Yeah. So we do need, so for our program, they do have to have UKVI IELTS. We are not able to waive the IELTS. That is a rule for UKVI. So we do need to have that. If your students are going for a level 6 program, so if you're applying for a degree program, it could be that the universities are looking at the WIAC score and that they are accepting that as proof of English. Now, unfortunately, if the program is below degree level, which ours is, we're not allowed to use any other English qualification. So students from India, for example, some universities will accept 12th English. We can't. We can only accept these 4 tests. That's all we can accept. That isn't twin rules. That is UKVI rules, and that is for anybody that's studying on a level 3 foundation. Does that make sense?
Yes, Sarah,
Thank you.
this is very clear.
Thank you very much. It's clear.
Yeah. So now I want to point out again the pre-English course, the 6 week. So in this case, the students they will have an IELTS level 4.5. Then they can apply for the 6 weeks plus the foundation, and they will receive the CAS letter for all this period. Is this correct?
That's right, yeah.
Perfect, perfect. So this is very important, ladies and gentlemen, for in case you have students with lower academic level, with lower English level, Twin College is the perfect school to start in the UK. And there is no other school because, I mean, 4.5 is very, very low in English. And I saw many students that have a very low English level. So you should really consider Twin College as a good option. And I personally visit the campus, is a great location. And maybe there are some future Twin College as well in the coming year that they will start to offer a bachelor program in 2027 or later on. But at the moment, Twin College is focused on the foundation program and English, 6 week English. Logically, you cannot book a 6 week English course only. You need to do 6 weeks English course plus the foundation year, just to clarify this one.
I'm just gonna, if you're okay, Richard, I'm just gonna show you a visual of the campus here in London where you visited us, just in case some agents are wondering what the campus is looking like.
Looks like the world to me. I'm excited to see where we're going to end up.
Yes. So we're looking at, so this is just on Google Earth. So I'm just going to type in our campus, and then this is a visual of where we are currently based. So this is our London campus. This is the building where I am currently at. It's literally right in the middle of Greenwich. For those of you who are familiar with Greenwich, you'll notice, obviously there is a very famous university, which is literally just down the road. And that's the University of Greenwich, which is literally just there. And it's literally like a 10-minute walk from our campus just down the road, which is just there. And that's it. I just wanted to show you a visual of the campus itself in London.
Thank you very much. What I want to point out to everyone here today is that in case you have some students and you want to become an agent of WEBA and apply student Twin College, you need to contact WEBA at international@webaworld.com. So we have the agreement with Twin College, so you will need to book your students inside in the WEBA portal. This is very, very important. So the contact for you is the team of WEBA. So we will contact you. We will share information. When we finish this workshop today, we will do a follow-up email. We will include all the details as well, how to book your students, the entry requirement, the next intake, the tuition fee, etc. Now, in regard of the tuition fee, Amar, Stevie, is there any scholarship for students for September 2025?
Yeah, we do. We have a scholarship. not for all students, but for many of the students, if they are, you know, academically capable, and the scholarship is up to £4,000. So it's a really good, generous scholarship, quite market leading, I would say. So when you send in your application through WEBA, please do ask about that. Amar will be the contact person about that, and he will take you through the eligibility. But we do have a good number of scholarships for September. We might not have that many nearer the time, so definitely encourage early applications. So if you have a pipeline now, for example, because the course starts in September, we can start issuing CASs from mid-March. That's only 6 weeks away. So send in your applications now so Sarah can go through the paperwork, get the student interviewed, and you have a much higher chance of getting that scholarship in the next 6 weeks, I would say, rather than if you leave it to the last minute, you know, July, August, because probably by then there won't be any scholarships left. So next 6 weeks is quite key, I would say, for application.
Can I just add to that, Steve? When you're submitting your applications, and I speak to Simran most weeks when she's dealing with the applications, and she's very good and she'll know what is needed. But we can give a conditional offer if your students haven't yet got all of the documents together. But just as a point to note, if your students do have a gap in study, we will need to see a CV, and we need, if you are putting in a personal statement, please don't have these as AI generated. We can normally tell that they're AI generated. Normally a cue is there's different size fonts and different color fonts, and obviously make sure you're entering the right institution. And if you send me the documents, we will do this. We will get you your offer within 24 hours, unless I have to send it to NCUK, and I have to send it if you don't meet the entry criteria. So we're looking for overall 50% on average for your high school, plus 50% in maths and English. Now that English is for the academic side, not for the English proficiency. So there's two English we need. We need English for your English score for your academic side to make sure that you can do it, and we need English for your visa. And they're two separate things, which is why we may say we need different things.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I think this is a very, very important what you mentioned now, and this will help everyone to understand. We are in January 30 today, so there is enough time. Is there enough time to have very good and genuine students? Sarah mentioned before something about the SOP, the letter of intent, which every student needs to prepare. I invite all the agents. I know is a long work, but to read this before to upload in our portal, because personally, every day I go inside in the portal and I read some SOP, and really, I can say that 50% of the students use AI. So
I would say more than that, but I would say that it's not just at this level. I am a Chevening assessor, and I have just done shortlisting for Chevening, and even for Chevening, 80-90% of the questions were AI generated and got rejected straight away. So people think they're being clever by using AI, but I guarantee it, we know when it's an AI statement.
Exactly. Of course, we're talking about a college, university, and NCUK, we don't talking about a Mickey Mouse school, so logically they know everything. So very important, all the agents read the SOP before to upload. So this will help us a lot, because I wanted to tell you something. Twin College is very fast in issue offer letter. So we need to win the clients. How to win the clients is to have the offer letter ready in 1, 2, 3 days. And if you can provide the offer letter, the conditional offer letter to the students after 2, 3 days, and the students sign, you win the students already. Let's say 98% you win the student. So he will not shop around. This is something very important. As we all know, students come to your office today, tomorrow they go to another one, after tomorrow they go to another agent, etc. So why I decided to work with Twin College as well is because they're very fast in issue offer letter. But to issue offer letter, they need to have the file completed. They need to have an excellent SOP. And this is your work. Your work is to check these details. This will help us a lot. So when we upload this at the Twin College, they receive it, they are happy, they go through. Sarah will look at very shortly, say, yes, these are good agents. Let me have a check on the SOP. The SOP look great. Maybe there's some error inside. It doesn't matter. It's human, but at least it's something that is very clear. And as they mentioned, your students can start with a 6 weeks English course plus the foundation. So as well, if there's some English error, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's even better. So they can realize immediately that this is a genuine SOP. So this is something that I invite everyone to have a good look inside.
Completely agree. I prefer to see, when I see an SOP that has some errors, I prefer this because I know the student has written it. So I prefer to see what the student has written rather than what an agent has written or what they have got of AI.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What is a very important point as well is that there are some costs to get the visa. So please be up to date always every year for the visa cost for entering the UK so that you can give the correct information to the students. Make sure that your students has enough financial. This is very important point. Maybe Amar, if you can point out some information about the financial the students need to show, it will be very helpful. Like the 28 days, they need to have a deposit in the bank. Or you, Sarah, maybe can you explain this part a little bit?
Yeah. So so you need to have the money that for you the rest of your course. So if you've only paid the deposit, the student will need to have the rest of their course fees plus their living costs in the banks, and that needs to be in a bank statement showing 28 days. Now I will check those bank statements to check they're in the right format, to check they've got the right information. So if there is any problems, I can come back to you. Now we can only do that just before you're about to apply for your visa. So there's no point in sending a bank statement now for your students. If your student is going to apply for the visa in May, we'd have to ask for it again. But we can go through that step by step and check that you have got that money in the account. If your balance drops below, I have seen students that have had a visa rejection because the balance dropped below by £100
Wow.
for one day. So the person hadn't realised, they'd quickly take it, they'd gone and I don't know what they'd bought. They then put the money back in the next day thinking, oh, this is terrible. The student had plenty of money in their account, but because the balance dropped below for £100 one day, their visa was rejected. So UKVI will look very, very seriously at the funding. So you need to make sure that your finances are correct.
Thank you.
If your student is under 18 and you're using parental money, we will need to have that authorization letter showing that the student is allowed to use their parents' money as well. But again, I will take you step by step through Simran. I will take step by step anything that you need on that.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you. Amar, Stevie. Okay, we have... Hello. I think it's blocked. Amar, can you hear me? Okay.
And I am dealing with from very beginning for the UK students. You said about the UKVA interview first
Yes.
at the first time. That is, they want some in the last year that I would like to share. If you go through it, my page, that you see that 100 of EU visas. In 2024, we received 80% of students are facing the UKVA interview. But in 2003, no student faced the UKVA interview for the level 3 NQF level 3 course.
Yes.
And as you are providing a level 3 course, so I would like to make some comparison at first, because of, that whenever a student have a 5.5 or 6, they are going to deliver their answers. Further, UKVA is not satisfied in the last year. 2 students refused. And you know that out of 10 students, if 1 student rejected by the CAS, the license will be cancelled of the college. There is a rule from the UKVA. So in that case, whenever you will accept 4.5 students, and if they sit for the UKVA interview, what sorts of answer will they provide? Can you tell me something about that?
I mean, with the anyone that's come for pre-sessional will have to provide the same kind of answer. So for students from markets like Bangladesh, we do know. So I have up-to-date statistics that say that students call for an interview, 1 in 5 get a visa rejection. So we know that UKVI take visa rejections very seriously. We don't want your students to get a visa rejection, and you don't want your students to get a visa rejection. So unfortunately, that does mean I have to be strict. So that does mean that even if your students are coming for pre-sessional English, I have to hold them to the same level as what I have to hold other students to, because UKVI will. They will not take into account that they're coming for English. It isn't fair, but unfortunately, I have to try and make sure that we keep our license.
Okay,
Sarah,
fine.
if I may interrupt, sorry, Miraj, and anyone else who's obviously attending the meeting, but unfortunately, we're running literally out of time because we have another session at 11 o'clock, I believe.
So I have few more questions regarding.
By all means, if you can send them to Simran, who is obviously, I believe, your account manager on behalf of WEBA. Because if we don't, then we're going to be late for the other session, and apologies for that, because we've got another 100 people in that session waiting for us. If you can send your messages, obviously, to Simran, I think you're still on the call. If you can, obviously, handle any questions or any queries that you may have from any of the participants on this call, absolutely reach out to me, and I can get back to you by the end of today.
Yeah, Amar, thank you very much. Mr. Mir Itaya, thank you very much as well. It's very important. We will do a follow-up email. You have all the detail written, and if you have any more query, you can write us an email, and we will be happy to share this with Amar or Sarah.
Absolutely.
So let's go to the second step from our side. So Amar and Sarah, you have to go. I'll let you go.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone, and apologies for the abrupt ending to this, but we look forward to working with you all. And WEBA, thank you so much for hosting this event.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Let's go to the second point now. I wanted to go to the credibility questions that, Sarah, if you need to go, just go.
Yeah, I'm just trying to exit now, so I'm going.
So we prepare a document which we will share with you, and we use Regent College London as an example, so you can share this with your students. These are more the questionnaire that every student will need to prepare themselves for the interview. So these are the list. This is the up-to-date list for 2025. We just try to get the most important details. So it's very important that your students are ready to answer these questions. We hired a former director of the University of Nottingham at WEBA, and he will do a pre-interview to all the students before they will go to the main interview with Twin College or Sandrat or Winchester or any of our partners. So very, very important, this credibility and academic interview questionnaire is here. We will share this with you, share this with the students. Maybe test your student first and make sure that they are able to answer all the questions. And then after, we will organize an interview with Dr. Bailey, and he will interview your students in order that they are ready. So if they do some mistake, there is no problem. Dr. Bailey will help the students and explain to them how to answer correctly, so they will be ready for the interview at Twin College or any other university we're working together. Now, I wanted to go to another university which we work together, and it's very, very interesting, is the University of Sunderland. They have at the moment a 3-year scholarship plan, And this is very important for you to understand. Starting from September 2025, I will share this information with all of you as well by email, and this include scholarship directly for undergraduate and for postgraduate. So for undergraduate, there is every year a scholarship of £5,000. So that means that the netto tuition fee is 11,500 per year, each year. So they receive £5,000 each year scholarship. So that means that your students will pay 11,500, and they have two campuses, one in Sunderland and one in London. So for London, 11,500 for direct bachelor is a very low fee, very interesting one. And for the postgraduate, they offer a 4,500 tuition fee waiver as well. This is very, very interesting. They have as well a pre-master program and even a foundation program. So they offer as well for European students, which is a bit different. And as well here, the key details is you need to book the students through the WEBA portal, which I will share with you in a second. And the WEBA portal is divided in two parts. One part is for direct foundation or pre-master, and one is for direct bachelor or master. This is the commission structure per intake for the University of Sunderland. This is the deposit payment plan for the University of Sunderland, which is only £3,500. So very interesting as well. They have a second payment, which is 50% of the tuition fee before arrival, deducting the deposit. And then the remaining can make in 3 installments. So very interesting. If we see the tuition fee is 11,500, they pay 3,500 deposit. So the difference is the 50% of the tuition fee difference, which is about 11,500. If I'm correct, is 8,000, 4,000. So they need to pay a difference of £4,000 before arrival, and then the rest remaining fee payment in 3 installments. Another big advantage of the University of Sunderland, they have an internal English language test, which is free of charge. Very important. So in case they do not have an IELTS or any other English examination, they can do the English test from the University of Sunderland, and is available for foundation as well, for bachelor and for pre-master. So student scoring 70%. Here is written everything in detail. I will share this with you. Very important is for students coming from India, the direct class, no interview for students coming from Central and South India, like Mumbai. For African students, WEC accepted. So this is very, very important for you. WEC is accepted. So all the students coming from Nigeria, for example, this is accepted. Academic requirement, here you have all the details. I will not read everything. I will share this with you and you can read yourself. They have as well a top-up program in case, and English language requirement in case they don't do the English test at the University of Sunderland is a standard 5.5 in IELTS or PTY academic 59. But what I suggest here is to do the University of Sunderland internal English test. We did a webinar, and I will share a copy of the webinar we had with the University of Sunderland. It's about 1 hour. So you will have all the details from the university. So this is something that I wanted to share with you. Something very important as well for you is Bangor University. This, why Bangor University? Okay, the application deadline is ended now on the 28th of January, so it's passed for April. But what is very important is they receive a scholarship 5,000 as well for September 2025. And they accept MOI for Indian and Pakistani. So this is something that is quite unique. We are now looking to assist more Pakistani and India who need the MOI so they can enter directly. And this is something very important. They accept as well TOEFL IBT Home Edition is accepted for your information. This is for Afghanistan. Okay, this is the contact that we have from Simran. This is for Bangor University. What else I can show you here today that I prepared for you is Regent College London, which is another big partner of WEBA. So they still have capacity for April, starting April this year. So they have as well a generous scholarship of 4,450 pounds. Regent College is located in London. By the way, next week on the 4th of February, I will be at Regent College London and I will hold a workshop and welcome agents from all around the world. In the morning and in the afternoon, we will go to visit the University of Sunderland, where we have the second workshop. So on the 4th of February, we will welcome agents from everywhere in the world in London. And in the afternoon, we go to visit the University of Sunderland as well. So here as well, a key deadline for the Regent College London, beside the 4,450 generous scholarship, they issued the offer letter in a period of 3-5 working days. This is something very important for you to know as well. In April, they have bachelor, foundation, master program. So very important for you. We accept students from all around the world. So there is can be from Nepal, Pakistan, Africa, Japan, Russia, whatever in the world. We are welcome to register them at Regent College London. As well, here we use Dr. Bailey experience. Every student will receive a pre-interview, so they will be ready for the interview for Regent College London. This is a very important part. We have as well another one which we prepare. This is January, but it will be the same as well for September. This is another interesting university that we work together. And we have about 40 different universities we work together at the moment, 40 in the UK. Now I will go inside in the portal for your information. Let me go here. Okay, so this is our portal, and the portal is very simple to use. You just need to include your email details of your company, your name, and here is the pathway program. So for foundation, international year 1 or pre-master. So these are the list which include twin NCUK, which they have a program starting in September 25. Now here is still written January 2025, but it doesn't matter. They have the program starting in September 2025. We just had the presentation now, and these are all the universities who offer the foundation. So these are the lists. In case you have students who want to do a foundation, you can opt to enroll a twin very fast in offer letter, and usually in 2-3 days they send us the offer letter. Or any one of these university, they usually send an offer letter in 7-10 working days. Then we have direct entrance for bachelor and master program. You can opt for 2-3 university. Don't need to opt only for one. You can opt for 2-3 university. For example, Richmond American University in London. We work very good with them as well. Regent College London here. And if you have a student for law, the University of Law, for example, if you want for the campus in Manchester, just click here. So then you continue here and you include the details of your students. Nothing complicated. All the details are here. Just follow the instruction. Just upload the document, bank statement, if available. If not, you just continue and go until the end. I have to speak a lot today, I can see. So very simple, just upload here in case of a visa refusal. And in case of IELTS, if you have the TRF number. WEBA is as well an IELTS test verify center. So very important, if you have the IELTS number, just put it inside here. And so on and so on. You can just need to upload the statement of purposes, as I mentioned before. If you register for 2 universities, you need to send 2 files, 2 statement of purpose, not only one, logically. If you still have some gap year, you need to create a CV and explain exactly what they did in these 2-3 years since they finished the high school. So these are a little bit of document that you have to read everything in details. You have to confirm and send this over to us. When we receive it, we need the usual 2-3 working days to check everything. Sometimes we are very fast. We manage in 24 hours. Sometimes we manage in 48 hours. And if everything is okay, we just send this to the university. And then after the university check the details, if everything is okay, they send us the conditional offer letter or the unconditional offer letter. It depends. And so your students need to sign and send this back to us. Our team is very expert. We handle a lot of application every day from the UK. And this is something very important for you to understand. Before you upload document, make sure that the passport is a valid passport. Make sure the document are very clear, PDF are very clear. Make sure the SOP is done by the students. And the great advantage now is January. You have enough time to apply your student for September intake. We still have capacity. Some universities still accept students for April intake. Today I will do a follow-up email and I will share all the information with you in details about what we explained today, about the entry requirement, how to apply the students, the commission, the agreement. You need to fill out an agreement, sign, send this back to WEBA. This is very important. Usually the university pay us the commission after the student start, after 2 months. The student start. So if the student starts in September, we usually get the commission around November, December, to give you an idea. This is the standard way. Some universities are faster, some universities take longer, but usually you have to calculate that if a student starts in September, by November, December, we are getting a commission and we share back the commission to you. Some model maybe take a little bit longer, but this is always depend on the administration of the university. At the moment, as I mentioned before, we work a lot with Sunderland and with Regent. We send them a lot of students, especially from India. For Regent, we send a lot of students from Pakistan. We send a lot of students from Nigeria as well, from Asia in general. So we send a lot of students because of the scholarship they offer, the 3 years. So this is a little bit the information that I want to share with you today, which I think it's very, very important for you to know that at WEBA, you have the option to work with many universities. We're talking about plus 40 UK university. And we do this work since many, many years. We work now with over 400 agents around the world. So we know exactly how to move forward in a discussion with the agents. We have our own team as well back in Africa, in Nigeria, which are in charge of the African students. So we have our own team in Asia, who is in charge of all the students coming from Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal. So we are very into this business at the moment, and we focus majority with students going to the UK. This is our main work. Logically, we have as well partner in Europe, like the University of Southern Denmark. We have as well partner in France. We have partner in Germany. In Germany, we work with about 100 state university. If you are interested, when I do the follow-up email, you can tell us and we will send information about Germany as well, Germany and Austria, just to make this very, very clear. And we work as well very good with Netherlands. We send a good number of students to Dutch university. But on the follow-up email, I will send you a little bit more information about this. So I think this is everything about the workshop today. And if you have some more questions, I will be more than happy to answer you. And it's great to have so many agents from different countries today. Logically, our main work is at the moment the UK. Let's say that out of 100 students, 90 students go to the UK. So we focus more on this part of the world. So I want to thank you everyone to be part of this online workshop. And I want to say hello to the one who will join me next week in London at the workshop at Regent College on the 4th of February and at the University of Sunderland as well on the 4th of February. And the other one who joined me in Amsterdam on the 5th of February. And so on, as we have many workshops coming in this year as well in Portugal. We have workshop coming up shortly as well in Belgium and more. Thank you very much for everyone. All the best. Have a good health. This is very, very important. And let's have good business together. It's always my pleasure to welcome you, everyone. You take care and cross the finger, be strong. Thank you very much.